All right, thank you. Now, time of the meeting is public comment. This item is for either public comment on any action item or for just general public comment and is limited to no more than 3 minutes for each commentator. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Now move to approval of the agenda.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move to approval of the minutes.
Move to approve as submitted.
All second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Minutes are approved. So now move to announcements and committee reports.
Chairman Gillens and members of the Planning Commission, we will only have one meeting this month, and that's today's meeting, so there won't be a second one this month.
Okay.
Next meeting would be the first Thursday in December.
Thank you. Is there any informational items?
None.
All right, so now we'll move to the public hearing items. First on the agenda is PCN 15043, consideration of and possible action on a request to rezone from C1, which is neighborhood commercial, to C2, general commercial, on a site approximately 4.25 acres in size located at 2050 Pyramid Way, Sparks, Nevada. Ian?
Chairman Hewins, members of the commission, Ian Crittenden, senior planner for the record. As you mentioned, this is a rezoning from C1 to C2 on the former Rayleigh site. Bring up the map real quick. So that would be the highlighted in blue parcel there. The request is to change from C1, neighborhood commercial, to C2, general commercial. The request will give the applicant an opportunity for a wider variety of uses on the property. I illuminated all the kind of differences between these two zonings as best I could in the staff report, and I can go through those in some detail if you'd like, but it is a little dry to rattle all those off. This site has been vacant since 2005. That's when the demolition of the old Rayleigh's building was done, and has been vacant since that time. This hopefully will spur some development on that property. As staff analyze this issue, the current master plan land use on that property is GC, or general commercial, which is appropriate for both the existing zoning and the proposed zoning. And the zoning of C2 is what the Scolari's Shopping Center across Pyramid and the Greenberry Shopping Center currently are. After we did our analysis and went through the findings, staff was able to make those findings and recommends approval of this rezoning.
Is there any questions for Ian?
Would you just take a minute and talk about the uses that are permitted by right as opposed to the CUP process?
Okay. What exactly are you looking for between those? Like I mentioned, I kind of broke them down in here. Basically, there are a few uses that are allowed under the C1 zoning that would require a conditional use permit, but under the C2 zoning would be allowed by right. Those cover courier message services, auto and light truck repair, that'd be like tire shops, different things like that, a car wash, a gas station, churches, a bar or lounge, or an entertainment facility or theater. Those kind of uses, I think we would agree, or my opinion on that is those are appropriate uses in that area. In fact, a lot of those actually exist in the shopping center to the south and don't appear to be nuisances. There's also a lot of uses that are available in C2 that aren't available at all in C1. Those cover payday loan establishments, title loans, bail bonds, tattoo parlor, wedding chapel, nursery, and that would be a plant nursery. I had a question about that. Event center or banquet hall, cultural institution, which we don't have a definition for, so I'm not 100% what we would fall under a cultural institution. Data processing, including data centers, media production, production of craft work, and building maintenance services. Again, these are all fairly common commercial uses in strip centers and stuff like that. The ones that get a little more noxious, if you will, are the uses that will require a conditional use permit but aren't mentioned at all in C1. So the conditional use permit under C2 but have no reference in C1. Those include a manufactured home park, a halfway house, a hotel or motel, recreational vehicle park, pawnbroker, manufactured home dealers, hospitals, recreational facility, major, which is like an amusement park, a mini warehouse, or a heliport transportation. And like I said, all of those will require an additional process, which will require, again, noticing. All the people that were noticed for the rezoning will get noticed for any of those as well, for that exact purpose, to make sure that they are aware when that project, if a project with any of those elements comes in, they'd get re-noticed and be able to come in and speak their mind about those projects.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know even if it really doesn't pertain to this, but I don't know whether you would know or maybe Art, but the Pyramid Way extension coming down the new, how far is it going to go to Richards Way or up further to York Way?
I believe it stops at York, if that's.
Is that York?
It's going to stop at York with the houses, the first houses that are going to go
Okay.
out there at
Yeah,
that.
I was never quite sure about where it was going to end.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Is the applicant here? Would like to speak? I am here. No? Well, come down and introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, my name is Mike Marty, and I'm the applicant, and I certainly agree with all the findings that staff has made, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that any of you might have.
Do you have any questions for the applicant?
So you are representing the applicant, or you are the applicant?
I am the applicant.
Okay.
I actually grew up 3 blocks from the Rayleigh Shopping Center and know it well. So,
All right, well, thank you, sir.
certainly.
All right, so no more questions. We'll
I might have some questions, but I'd rather open to the public
Okay.
hearing.
You bet. Okay. All right, this is a public hearing item. So if anybody from the public that would like to speak, you have 3 minutes. And if we could wait till everybody gets done talking before we ask questions. So any public want to come down and speak on this item? Okay. Well, seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the commission.
Now I have a question. I wanted to see if you had any comments or emails from anybody about this property.
I had quite a few phone calls, mostly just informationally what exactly is happening. I think there was some confusion with the notice letter goes out with a graphic that shows the subject property and then the noticed area, with the subject property being blue and the noticed area being yellow. And there were some people concerned that the yellow was also being changed in some way. I think especially with the street widening, the road widening, that there was some apprehension that maybe something was happening. They want to make sure. But when I made it clear that it was the rezoning of that, just that area, and those were the noticed people, most were not that concerned. There was some comment that they'd like a Trader Joe's. I told them I'd do what I could, but I don't know that I could make that happen. But additionally, the only comment I had really with some constructive or some criticism was they would like things that help improve the neighborhood. They said they saw new families coming into the area, and they wanted to continue to encourage that, and they wanted some stuff that would help families in the area be a good commercial thing. So I let them know that new development there is that the vacant lot's not helping anybody at this point, so some development would probably be good. So.
Okay, and next question. there's an interesting little corner piece in that, and I drove by there and looking, single family, someone's living in there at this point. That's
Yeah, and that's not part of this property.
I know.
You know, and yeah, they've been
He's been
C1.
attempting to corner the market on wood piles, though, for
I think they might
30
be.
years. 30
So,
years, I can tell.
And in access from the shopping center that's south of that thing,
We've talked about trying to find cross-access agreements. To this point, we haven't found them. It's just been always open, and there's not any city easements across there that I could find or that I've seen. So we're short answer is I'm not sure.
no,
What's
that's
gonna
fine.
happen.
That's fine. I just want to
Okay.
verify that. It's on the question.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, I'll entertain it.
I move to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council of the request associated with PCN 15043 to rezone approximately 4.25 acres from C1 Neighborhood Commercial to C2 General Commercial, based on the findings Z1 through Z3, and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report.
Second?
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion passes. Good luck with the project. And so now we'll move to second public hearing item, which is PCN 15042, consideration of and possible action on a conditional use permit request to allow for Health Fitness Club, martial arts studio on a site approximately 2.07 acres in size in the industrial zoning district located at 395 Freeport Boulevard, Unit 13, Sparks, Nevada. Karen Melby?
Good evening, Planning Commissioner Karen Melby, senior planner. The applicant has applied for a conditional use permit to operate as our code would call it, as a health fitness club, but they want to operate a martial arts studio at this location. The property is zoned industrial, and the Sparks Municipal Code land use table provides a conditional use permit for health clubs or fitness in the industrial area. The space that they wanted to move into on Freeport was previously used as a martial arts studio. However, they never had a special use permit nor a business license to operate there. So when this applicant came in, we said, well, let's clean the slate here and request that you come in with a conditional use permit and get your business license. The application for the conditional use permit is to be located, can I have that's okay. It's to be located on this property, which is on the east corner of Linda and Freeport. You can see in the exhibit. They propose to teach martial arts in the unit in the front. Let me go to the site plan, which, hold on a second, I can't for some reason save it as rotated. They want to occupy, I believe the unit number was 13 in this building. It's highlighted, yeah, it says 13 there. It's the little corner here in the building. The classes would start about 5:30 p.m., run Monday through Friday, and potentially sometimes on the weekends. The instructions would be small groups consisting of maybe 15, 20 people, and would only be adult clients. That's important because in the industrial area, if you have children, the fire department requires that we have an evacuation plan. These classes are anticipated to be about 1 hour in length. Staff has done a parking analysis. Usually that's one of the biggest issues on these health club facilities is the parking. My staff report includes a table, and in my analysis, briefly, there are a total of 55 parking spaces on site. Around the front building, this building, which is 395 Freeport, there are 27 parking spaces. Around the building in the back here at 385, there's 28 parking spaces. Based on my analysis and using the standards from the parking code for the parking requirements, there'd be 22 parking spaces required for the 385 and 21 parking spaces required for the uses The current use is at 395. The current use is a total of 43 parking spaces. This proposed martial arts is required by code to have 12 parking spaces. This comes to a total of 54 parking spaces, which the site has 55. So staff doesn't anticipate any problems. In addition, they will be operating in the evening. If you look at my table, most of these businesses operate during the day. Though there are, I'm sure, when you're having to do, some of these were like print shops and stuff, and I'm sure occasionally they have to work in the evening, but generally their hours of operation are daytime. Staff does not anticipate that there should be a parking problem on this site. The proposed use is consistent with the master plan, with the issuance of the conditional use permit, and the surrounding uses are industrial, but the martial arts studios would be located on a collector. It's almost actually two collectors, because Linda and Freeport, which provides sufficient access if they would have to evacuate the area. That's usually the only concern, one of the biggest concerns that we have for these type of uses in an industrial area. Staff is recommending approval with 4 conditions, and before the meeting, Marilee handed out a letter that I received in support of this project. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions for Karen?
Karen, on that, on the parking issue, your study found you didn't assist in assigning these parking spaces. I assume the applicant did that, right?
What do you mean by assigning?
Well, I see in here that they have assigned certain parking spaces to certain people within that complex.
No, just a number, not an actual.
My table represents the number of required parking spaces, not assigned.
Yeah, that's what I'm driving
Yeah.
at. So you only were interested in the required parking.
Correct. That's what we base our analysis on, is what the required parking is based on the standards in the adopted zoning code.
Thank you.
Have any more questions for Karen? All right, is the applicant here and would like to come down and speak?
Right. That's all there is.
Would like to come down and introduce yourself?
Hello, sir. I'm Lance Brown. And the applicant.
Yeah.
And I'm awfully nervous sitting in front of you, so be easy on me.
We're not a tough group.
Are you the instructor?
Yes.
Whoa.
So in the report, you'll mainly be operating after 5 o'clock, around 5:30 and past, and of course, adults only, no?
Yeah, adults only, and we've recently had some interest from some younger students, so I may look into what Karen has mentioned and see what I need to do to put together an evacuation plan if that works out. I'm not sure how that process works, but I'll ask the right people, I hope.
What happens prior to 5:30? Is the facility just vacant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the same kind of concern. Is I don't see we're putting that in a condition,
Right.
the 5:30, although you're committing to that. Could you
standard
maybe
schedule.
explain on staff your thinking on this?
I mean, I would say most to the point is that
Right.
the parking provided on site is sufficient for all of the uses on the site, so it meets code.
Oh,
We
okay,
have-
so it already meets code without
The shared parking.
without that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there
Okay.
are 55 parking spaces provided on
That's
site, and
great.
based on my analysis, if they would be operating during the day, they need 54 parking spaces, and so that's actually under the 55. So we felt there was no need to put a condition on the special use permit requiring them to only operate in the evening.
No.
We have done that on other special use, I'm sorry, conditional use permits. I'm still getting used to that.
That term?
Yes.
My concern was how they were going to police such parking. But then, as I reread the applicant, the hours of operation was from 5:30 on for yours. So I don't see any problem in policing that particular spot for that.
Sir, did you or your organization have any connection to the martial arts the group that was operating?
No, sir.
Okay. Good
And the truth, too.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this is a public hearing item. If someone from the public that would like to speak, you have your 3 minutes. Come on down, sir, and then after you're done, if you could please give the clerk your name and that.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Hayesfield. I own the building at 55 Freeport, along with some others. 55 Freeport obviously is about a long block away from this building. I've owned my buildings for about 20-some years, and all the businesses that were itemized in this business, I've had also. I did have a martial arts studio, terrific guy. I really liked him, an excellent businessman, in my opinion. He promised me he would only give lessons at night. He promised me that he was allotted 2 parking spaces, because that's all I had on that property. It wasn't 55 Freeport, it was another property. 2-3 years later, I don't remember the exact time, he took up half my parking spaces, of which totaled about 10. And it took him about 2-3 years to get there. I complained to him. I said, they can't park here. You're stealing from the other customers. He did it anyway. Now, that doesn't mean this gentleman would do the same. What it means is that's the way the business runs. He said he would only work in the evening, but he became a babysitter for a lot of the parents. And a lot of the kids came, and adults, came there to do their, I think the word is congas or something like that, which mainly exercises. During the day, they all brought cars. He told me that the parents drop the kids off and leave. They do not. They stay there and watch, and they have a car there. And you can't talk them out of it. As a parent, I did the same thing with my child, who did take martial arts. All I'm trying to say is, in looking over the chart that I was given, which is different than the municipal code that I'm used to reading, it had things that don't make any sense as to parking spaces, such as for a contractor's office, for 1,500 feet, they allot 1 parking space. Well, I have contractors, and 1 parking space doesn't even come close. What they do is all the workers show up in the morning, then they carpool to the location, so there are 4 or 5 cars parked there. You can't say 1 parking space, and he had 3 or 4, that chart had 3 or 4 parking spaces like that. The beauty supply store is evidently a retail location, which used to be 1 parking space for 250 feet. I think they allotted 2 parking spaces for that. And I could go on like that. What I'm trying to say is the building sites, as I understand it, are supposed to be able to support the business, not the street. Now, I sent a picture to Karen of Freeport at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it was almost filled. Okay, if the planning department keeps on allowing people to come without fully researching how many spaces they're going to take, we're going to be inundated very quickly. Is that 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Fill out a card.
Yeah, sir, if you could just fill out a card with the clerk when you have a chance. Karen, could you come back up? Sure. Well, excuse me, before you do that, is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak on this? Okay. So, Okay, seeing no more, I'm going to close the public comment and ask Karen to come back up. Karen, there were some concerns about the parking. Now, again,
Can you bring,
um,
well, no, I put my chart. I have my chart.
I know you've mentioned this before. Could you just refresh my memory on what code, how many spaces on this piece of land is up to code and what is there for this place? Again, I think it's 55 and 54, just kind
Yeah,
of reiterate that.
My analysis in this table is only for 395, and it requires 12 parking spaces with the martial arts studio. There's 55 parking spaces provided on site. The requirements that I used for the parking code for like the contractor's office, that is our newly adopted parking requirements in our newly adopted code that was adopted in August by City Council. So that code does have new standards for parking. I think Jeff was looking at the code that is online right now, which we do not have the currently adopted code provided. It's not been uploaded or whatever. We're still waiting for the Muni code to do that, the company that does that for us. And the new parking requirements are changed from our old code. They don't require as many parking spaces as our old code did, and has more specific codes. Usually like a contractor's office, we would have been doing it based on an office use, and now we have a specific contractor shop, which is one per 1,500 square feet.
Karen, were the folks that lease and the rest of the businesses that you've listed here, they were noticed?
Yes. Well, no, the property owner was noticed, not the businesses.
Okay. And have you heard from the property owner?
No, I have not.
Okay. And have you heard from any of the businesses?
No, I have not.
Okay. You have any more questions for Karen?
No, my office is out there, so I understand the issue of 1,500 feet. If you have employees, the parking does get challenged within a lot. And what happens, people pour over into the street and they elongate parking out there, and it becomes a problem conceptually.
Right.
So if the applicant has employees, then, in addition to the 12 or 15 folks that are in the lab or the studio, there are potentially employee parking issues, and that kind of exaggerates itself in pyramids. And Freeport is a challenged street for parking, and it's also becoming
Yeah, because I know there's other uses that park on that street.
Yes.
And like the dance studio up the street. I know everybody parks on the street when they go to that dance studio.
Right.
We know, huh?
Yes, we know. We've got children that went.
Both our children went there.
You guys taking Congo dances?
No.
Anyhow, that's.
But my analysis is based on the new parking requirements in the new
Understood.
adopted code.
And according to that code, there's adequate parking.
Yes.
One space spare.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
I'm ready.
I move to approve the conditional use permit associated with PCN 15042, adopting findings C1 through C6 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval 1 through 4 as listed in the staff report.
Second?
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any more discussion from the commission? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? All right, good luck. Okay, now we're going to move to general business and a briefing on the process of updating the Sparks comprehensive plan. Good evening.
My name's Allison Bolton. I'm part of the RAD Strategies team. Just want to thank you guys for having us here today, giving you an update on our plan. And when Karen and I bounced back and forth about the last update that we gave you, we realized we didn't really talk about why RAD. I do want to, I think my face is new to all of you guys. I handle the day-to-day client communication as well as the media outreach, social media, that sort of thing. But really, the RAD team is much more than just Allison Bolton. Renell Dotson's probably the face that you're more familiar with. But really, we're experienced communicators, and that's really our strong point. We have an understanding of what's going on in the culture and in our community. And really, we're kind of like, the best way that I can describe the culture of our firm is you go to a cocktail party and everyone has that friend, right? That friend that says, hey, have you heard about X, Y, and Z? And you go, I don't know what they're talking about. Instagram this, Snapchat that. What are they talking about, right? 3 months later, that's all you can hear about. So at RAD, our job is basically to know about those things that are going to be popular 3 months later. Now, when you combine the RAD expertise and what we have with Miss Karen here and her background, we really have a dynamic team. Karen, do you want to talk about a little bit about your background?
But I'm first going to finish one more thing. So
Yeah.
the whole RAD team was either born or lives now in Sparks. This is a group of women who are incredibly proud of this community. My name's Karen Craig, and I was invited on to the team from RAD. I run a group called Creative Cities, but my expertise isn't so much the communications piece as much as it's community engagement. So I'm not a Sparks resident. I live in Reno, but I think you might know a project that I started when I first moved here, which was Art Town, and that was an effort that really mobilized a community to get involved, fall in love with who we are, and really pull people from all edges of the region. So between the two organizations, we're moving forward with the public outreach for the Sparks Comp Plan.
It's a little bit about who we are.
Okay, next slide. So we talked to you about a month ago. We've been doing mostly still the planning phase, and just wanted to give you an update as we're moving into the beginning of the implementation phase. The most important things to remind you is that this effort is to really engage, sorry, I'm moving between two different, eyes don't work. It's to engage residents in conversation. What we're doing is a little bit different as a baseline, which is that we're really going out and finding residents as opposed to having a lot of public meetings, putting out a notice and hoping people come to us. Our talent is going to be to go out and really engage people where they live at the time they have available in a way that people want to talk. We're going to be inclusive. We're going to be community-wide. We're going to be sure to target and work with underrepresented population that really wouldn't find coming to a public workshop. The process will be transparent, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be fast-paced.
So here's an overview of the general timeline that we're looking at. So we came on board October 2015, and now we're in that November, December, which is what we call the Vision Phase 1 survey. So really we're just painting the vision for this. Then we'll head into, getting a little bit deeper with it, which is our Phase 2. And then summer and fall we'll draft the plan, complete the plan, and hopefully adopt the plan.
Okay, so in terms of Phase 1, here's what's to update you since we saw you last. We have a number of meetings scheduled, starting with coming for our second update on your plan to Planning Commission. Next week we'll be at Sparks City Council on the 9th, 39 North on the 10th, internal staff meeting on November 11th. We'll have a Sparks advertorial running in the Reno Gazette Journal. It'll be the first time we're out in the public, and that'll be an editorial on Sunday, the 15th of November. We're going to be holding our first Plan Outreach Champions meeting on the 17th, a media announcement the week of December 1st. We'll be in force trying to collect about 400 engagements at the Sparks Hometown Parade on the 5th. Then we roll into a couple straggling meetings in the beginning of January of 2016. We'll be at the Citizens Advisory Committee on January 14th. We'll catch up with Sparks Park and Recreation Commission and the brand leadership team. That'll kind of round out the different pieces of going out into the community for phase one.
Now, as far as an update on the various communication tools that we'll be using for this, so how we're going to really get the word out there, we are launching the microsite, which is really, it's consistent with the Sparks brand, but it stands alone in and of itself, and that's set to launch November 15th. The online survey will be also promoted through all of our communications. Now, with social media, we'll be using that through the current Sparks channels, so the current Sparks Facebook page, Twitter, etc. And media relations outreach, as Karen mentioned, we have a launch planned after the Hometown Christmas Parade. And again, really part of our plan is getting that one-on-one interaction and getting into the community. Now, all of this will be backed by the hashtag Ignite Sparks. And the reason we're using this hashtag, we want this to be fun. We want it to be innovative. We want to really capture all that there is with Sparks. And with this hashtag, not only does it, ignite us, right? It says Ignite Sparks, but it's used for social engagement. So getting everyone's on Facebook. Your kids are on Instagram, they're on Snapchat, they're all over the place, and they're using what we call hashtags. And all really a hashtag is it's a way to organize things. It's a way to organize thoughts. So by using the hashtag Ignite Sparks, we're able to go on and garner engagement, but also track that engagement and see who's using it and who's talking about the Ignite Sparks campaign.
Thank you for teaching me. That's the best way I've ever heard it explained. Okay, so the difference between phase one and phase two. Phase one, which we're in right now, is that we're really trying to get at a high level. What is it we want for Sparks? I'd love that you smile when we say Ignite Sparks. It's what's your vision? Where are we going? It's kind of the high level conversation that then allows us to go back, sit with Karen and Armando and team to talk about what we learned about what people love about Sparks, what's their biggest worry for the year 2030, and what is their wish? What would they like us to become? One of my favorite comments from you last time was saying, I think we've been a bedroom community for a long time, and is that what the hashtag generation wants to be, or do we want to see something else? So that's what we're going to be listening for.
That's why we want to ignite Sparks.
Exactly.
In terms of the communication tools, again, this is just diving deeper in the phase two, and this is really the boots on the ground phase, starting in January, and we're bus tours, student involvement, community presentations. We're getting out there, and we have a team together to do that and to collect all the information that we're looking for.
I know last time we covered this, but just as a refresher, that we're going to be specific in neighborhoods and in wards, listening to issues that are really particularly important in those neighborhoods. So again, we'll be in heavy traffic areas, in parks, food trucks in working neighborhoods, at the flea market, maybe at the Boys and Girls Club, and then definitely go out and speak to people, owners of industrial properties, and make sure we connect with everybody.
Will you be far enough along in your planning to, on your one-on-one projects? I was just thinking you were talking about Hometown Christmas Parade, but also I would think that at some point the surveying folks that come to the Legends would be.
Yeah, definitely.
And that might be important at the Christmas holidays as opposed to after the Christmas holidays.
That's excellent.
That's okay.
You running the turkey trot this year, Doug?
I will miss it.
Okay.
But I thought about wearing my turkey trot sweatshirt tonight, but instead.
So here's just an example of what that looks like rolled out onto our communication tools that we currently have. So here's an example of the Sparks Facebook page. We've just splashed there, the cover photo with using that hashtag Ignite Sparks. So again, it's using our current platforms, our current audience that we already have with Sparks, and then integrating this campaign within it. Same goes with the mobile app. We have the mobile app, we have downloads, we have people that are already using it, so we're engaging that audience that's already engaged with Sparks. The infograph that's here, which I think is nearly finalized, if it's not already finalized, we're really using this as a tool across all of our communication platforms. So, I mean, think email signature, press releases, e-blasts. This graphic will be a depiction of our communication in all aspects.
Okay, so this is really a good update of the progress we made since we saw you last time. We've been diving deep on how to identify plan champions. And let me describe for you what a champion is. It's a person who's really visionary, who can think about things in a generation instead of here's the problem on my block this week or this month or since this summer. And they're interested and excited about what's going to make Sparks a great city as we grow. They're also individuals who are highly connected. I would call them even hyper-connected. They're the kind of person that says, oh, you're going to want to talk to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden we move through 5 or 10 or 15 people because they just enjoy making that connection. So we've put together a list of about 30 plan champions so far. They represent all 5 wards. There are a couple sprinkled from commissions and boards. But we've also really targeted and are in the process of mailing personal letters from the mayor to each of about 25 different individuals who represent faith-based groups, who teach homeschool project groups in a neighborhood community center, to UNR's Cultural Diversity Center to reach to Latino students and LGBT and across the range of tribe and African American. So we're really targeting and picking up the phone and calling people and having the mayor reach out to them and invite them to participate directly. And this is how Sparks is really going to be welcoming and listening. We're not just throwing the doors open. We're really going to talk to people one-on-one and make them feel included and invite them to include anyone else they'd like to. So one of the emphasis that we want to make tonight is, as the Planning Commission, if there are people you know who are visionary, excited, well-connected, this is an open-ended list and it'll be added to throughout the whole process. So please, we so much need your ideas, suggestions, recommendations, and if any of you want to participate on that team, we'd love to have you. Stakeholder groups, I'm going to spend a short time here because we all know who stakeholders are. They're the ones that get bummed if you didn't invite them, but they usually miss it on their calendar. So we are going to go to as many meetings, make sure everybody feels included, but this will start the process in January, and it'll include a lot of the different members of organizations who have overlapping plans. Washoe County, RTC, the school districts, flood control, make sure that they all feel that they have a voice and they understand that this process is going on, find out how they can get engaged, and certainly stakeholders are always where the business community lands, and we'll do all the chicken lunches. So let's just really focus on what the questions we're asking over the next 60 days. You're going to get these by email. We didn't think it was appropriate necessarily to have you answer them from the dais, so we're going to try it a different way. But the first questions we're asking that'll take us through today and the end of the year. I love Sparks because, and I think the best place to picture asking these questions is at the hometown parade. I love Sparks because my biggest concern for Sparks in the year 2030 might be my wish, since we're at a holiday, my wish to make Sparks even better by 2030 is. Those are the 3 open-ended questions. And then we want people to identify themselves. We'd love it by ward, but since nobody knows what ward they're in, we'll ask them for a street address and a zip. We'll ask their age range and their ethnicity. And our goal here is to do, over the process, about 2,700 surveys, where 75% would be from white 25 to 50-year-old families in Sparks, and the other 25% would probably be Spanish-speaking, and that would mirror our demographics.
So with that, that's just kind of a brief overview of where we're at. Again, we're very excited and we're eager to get the community excited and on board. Open to any questions.
Sounds exciting. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you guys have some cards too? I know we didn't get any last time.
Sure.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Y'all are too
Thank you.
easy.
You're fun. Unfortunately, not many of us up here in that 30 to 50 year range.
Me neither, but the plan goes to 2030, so we need to have people that are.
Yeah, I understand.
The question is, some of us being around in 2030.
All right, continuing the meeting on is public comment. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak on anything that was on the agenda, or just general public comment at all? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment. Bring it back to the commission for any comments.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on the first item that we looked at, which was changing from the C1 or the C, going to C2. I really like how staff broke that up, and I appreciate that kind of going through what uses that would be. I really liked how that was broken up. I think it gave us it was a good report, good staff report. I just want to comment on it.
Okay. All right, anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. May have a good evening. Yeah. Ian is the man.